So you believe that you can salvage these talks? Because the mood in Geneva is less optimistic than it is here.
It's not like we're looking at this through rose-colored glasses. It's not like we don't see what's going on in Geneva for exactly what it is. We're very mindful of the breakdown in the talks this week, and nobody is fooling ourselves here that it is, that it's becoming resoundingly successful or easy this week. Not at all. But do we think that there's still a purpose in this process and in trying to get it back on track and to move it forward? Absolutely we do. I wouldn't use the verb salvage the way you did, but I would say that we certainly believe in the value of this and in trying to get it back on track.
I just want to go back to something you said. So the opposition says that the truce has ended, but you're saying that it's largely still holding.
The cessation of hostilities,
Yeah.
that's what we call it,
Yeah.
is still holding. It is. Now, it's fragile, but we continue to see that it's still holding.
I don't understand how you can say the cessation of hostilities is in place or is holding, and then the next sentence later say we're not looking at this through rose-colored glasses. No one believes that it's holding. I mean, it might exist on a piece of paper someplace, but if you look at the statements coming out from the opposition and the government accusations of rebel violations, you're the only one who thinks that it's still there, still exists.
I don't think I'm the only one, Matt.
All right. Well, maybe there's some blind guy, in somewhere. No one. Both sides, all the sides that are supposed to be actually adhering to the cessation of hostilities, none of them say that it's still in place.
If you're using a binary definition here, and that one shot fired means that it's no longer holding. If that's your definition, then that's your definition of it.
What they're saying, there's barrel bombs going off.
Absolutely.
I mean, my God, this is
Guys,
how about the binary equation, true or false? How's that?
No,
Does
you
that
can't,
work for you?
because you can't do it that way. And you're not telling me something I don't know. I've been saying it for the last few days. In fact, I said it yesterday. We continue to see that the regime continues to violate the cessation and does continue to drop barrel bombs. And we do think they were responsible for this terrible attack today. That doesn't mean that the cessation isn't holding in other places inside Syria. There have been violations of the cessation since the day it was announced.
And you've always placed the blame on the regime. I mean,
Largely.
You know beyond the shadow of any doubt that most violations are committed. But
We still believe most of the violations are from the regime, but I'm not saying they all are.
Okay.
And folks, it doesn't, just because there are violations, and it doesn't mean that we don't take them seriously. It doesn't mean that we don't recognize the impact they're having on the political process.
First of all, concerning the Syria ceasefire task force that the U.S. and Russia are chairing, any indication on when we'll hear back from them with initial findings on some of these violations that they're looking into? And then secondly, one of the other things that the opposition group called for today was a renewed push from the International Syria Support Group to intervene in the humanitarian crisis and also look into what it says are the regime ceasefire violations. Are there any behind-the-scenes talks going on when this group might meet again?
Well, I don't normally talk about behind-the-scenes talks of any kind, but there's not an expectation that the cessation task force is going to issue some sort of final report. The job is to catalog and to document and to analyze as best we can, violations of the cessation, and to do everything we can to present in real time what we're learning to try to get them stopped. It's not a task force in a military sense that they're going to go out and physically stop cessations. That's not the purpose.
At some point, will we see something public from the ceasefire task force on what it has been cataloging?
I'm not aware of any a public report, as I said, that the task force is prepared to submit or to distribute.
Is that because you don't agree on who's responsible? That you're not making these findings?
No, I think you're thinking about the work in the wrong way. That the task force is set up to monitor as best they can in real time violations of the cessation and to then push that information out to those who have influence over those who are doing the fighting and to get them to stop.